We've got a tremendous session lined up for you today, a real Christmas cracker. We're going to be looking at how we can help you to shift left with Helix GPT with Virtual Agent, and also how we can help to improve performance and availability with AIOps. My name is Jamie Swales, and I'm a sales manager supporting our service ops go-to-market across Northern Europe. And I've got the pleasure to be joined by two fantastic guest speakers today. So we've got Martin from Ericsson, who's going to be leading our customer story. And then we've got Mickey, who's going to be talking through our tech corner from our solution engineering team. Welcome back to people who have been to these admin forums before, and welcome to anyone who's joining for the first time. This is how we like to structure our sessions. So the bulk of the session is the customer story. This is where we hear from you guys about some initiatives or some general issues that you're having within the business and how Helix has helped you to overcome that. We've had some Christmas cracking sessions so far. We've had the likes of Walgreens Boots Alliance, AIB, BBC talking largely around their motions to shift left. We've had Johnson Matthey talk around how they're driving and creating niche applications using Innovation Suite. Most recently, we had Balfour Beatty coming on to talking around their HR transformation. So we've got a good back catalogue of all these different sessions. If you want to get access to any of those recordings, please let me know. Martin is going to be leading this session today, and he's going to be talking around sort of two areas. One is around Helix GPT powered virtual agent, so sort of a focus on shift left, but then we're going to shift to look as well at their journey so far with AIOps. Mickey is then going to be talking around how we can help you to reduce and control carbon emissions within the data center. So some great work that he's been working on with customers. We're going to ring fence a little time towards the end for a quiz, as we always do. That's quick fire, 3 questions, fastest finger first is going to win themselves a little Christmas treat. And it's all going to be based off of the content that you can hear over the next 50 minutes or so. We've got a big turnout, which is great. So for questions which we actively encourage, I'm going to ask you if you can put them into the chat, and I'll sort of watch those, and I'll stop Martin and Mickey as we're going through. So without further ado, the floor is yours, Martin.
Okay, let me make sure that I include sound in my. Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you for having me. Thank you for spending time with Ericsson today. Now I need to find somebody raised their hand, but if you, Jamie, can look at the chat if there's any questions. So you ask questions while I'm presenting. That's fine. It's more interactive than a big long monologue. Yeah. And there's a question from Graham already, or is it just that you're pressing the wrong button in like I do?
I pressed the wrong button. Apologies for that.
Yeah. No, I know I do the same thing every time. All right. We call this enterprise service management platform in Ericsson. We have done a big reorg change, and most likely we are splitting up a couple of things here as the naming convention. But at least for now, we are consolidating a lot of things under the name of enterprise service management, which include DWP, business workflow, chatbots, ITSM, orchestration, B-Home, AIOps, discovery. And other iPOS solutions, etc. So we are a very big BMC shop. We have been driving towards utilizing as much as possible from one vendor to kind of make it easier and focus on business value. Yeah. Instead of dealing with technology challenges that we had in the past, because we had a very scattered environment and it was very hard to stitch that together. Yeah. But so we believe that we create a lot of value in Ericsson, and we hopefully do make the life easier for our colleagues out there. And we tend to deliver this faster, and of course with a better user experience. It's a little bit of our mantra. You know? And we have set up like we are driven by the business need out there, and that's one of the successes, I would say, that it's driven from an improvement point of view rather than a technology point of view. Our vision is we're called IT for IT product line. I assume that a lot of you guys already know what IT for IT is, but that's the way that we're naming our new organization that is supporting the business out there. And it's delivered by our own internal teams that sits in both Romania and India. And I think that is a key to success behind what we are delivering today in Ericsson. Short agenda. And Jamie, please keep me time tracked because I can maybe fly off in one direction or another, but I will try to keep it short and sweet. Just who am I? Of course, I need to do a commercial about myself. I've been, before I joined Ericsson, I've been working in the financial industry, but mainly been working in outsourcing and in operations delivery. So I come from a very operational background. And my first initial years in Ericsson was in operations, in our managed services organizations and so on. So knowing KPIs, knowing automation, knowing SLAs, knowing what we need to hit to achieve the targets, etc. It's been kind of in my DNA built in, but I was never responsible in the beginning of tooling, but more from a business point of view towards customers, right? So I've been in Ericsson for 16 years, and I've worked in many different organizations, but this is the longest I've been in one, in my current role. So I've been here for 8 years as something called strategic product manager. Now it's called IT product owner because we're going into a product-oriented delivery model, which we actually have been doing for many years already, as we introduced DevOps 6-7 years ago. But I've also been responsible for in the IT for IT flow, detect to correct and request to fulfill areas, which is monitoring, observability, ITSM, automation, request, ordering, etc., right? Just a little bit about our organization. So when I started in that role with then my manager at that time, we started actually at the same time. We had a team of 15 engineers, and we had that's for the operational part because we had on-prem solution, of course, back in the days, and we had an outsourced application development team. And we saw there, like, it didn't really work. So we actually decided to insource the whole thing and introduce DevOps. We were quite early on with that. But that has led us to grow the team to more than 90 people currently for the whole platform that we have and for the business units that we support. And we deliver around 6,500 business demands per year. And that's not a small chunk of demands that we do. And that could be anything from a very small change to a very big project as well. So that's enough about me. Our strategy is always to think about the value that we bring to our, to first of all, for the money that we get. It needs to be bang for the buck. It needs to actually drive some improvements and some ideas of improvements at least. So if we take it the simpler part, so we've been consolidating a lot of legacy solutions in the last couple of years. So many very global big systems that we've had into this platform. We have, I don't know, more than I think it's more than 100 local IT solutions that we have actually been consolidating, especially in the supply area in Ericsson, because supply used to be scattered in each single country in Ericsson. But we have done a lot of work about consolidating platforms out there. So that means that we can free up actually money, right? We're closing down hardware, licenses, agreements, operational teams, and so on. So we have been really focusing on trying to get as much as value from BMC Helix. So for us has been really a lot of focus on.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. All right. So and of course, with this amount of different tenants and this consolidations, we needed to find a way of doing stuff quicker, right? So that's why DevOps was introduced, because we couldn't really have the normal water flow perspective, and demand management process was very tedious and so on. So we were really the first one out to implement this as a concept. And then we introduced safe scale agile methodology 5 years ago. That has been kind of the backbone of our delivery model. But that has also created a lot of collaboration, but also innovation in terms of what we can automate. So currently in our DWP portal, more than 70% of our requests is actually automatically fulfilled with orchestration solutions that we have from BMC, but also from an IPOS perspective. We also have an ambition next year, because our AIOps journey, and that's we're gonna come to that, is to actually have automation and remediation increased to 30%. And that is also a target that we have to be able to drive down operational interventions manually, right? And then, of course, everything about AIOps is to decrease noise, reduce the mean time to resolve, but also focus on the right tickets. And of course, we will like to do stuff better, right? We want to have a good user experience from all types of products that we have, you know, from our portal, from our ITSM, for our business workflow. And we work very closely with Ericsson team, but also with BMC's product management team, and get them involved with our business stakeholder, what they would like to see more of, and what they would like to change to actually increase the capability and also the intuitivity of the application itself. So we have this so-called partnership of design with BMC, and that is also pushing a lot of requirements to BMC to improve their product. So I really believe that Ericsson is making BMC's product better, you know, and that has been going on for the last 3-4 years actually with BMC. And another thing that, of course, is very high on everybody's agenda is the ChatGPT capabilities that we see popping up everywhere. And of course, for us, it's equally important. And we have just recently launched Helix GPT for one of our biggest business units for the chatbot currently. And of course, that doesn't stop there, but we're going to continue on that road. I will go to the next slide. Just a snapshot of this was updated actually 2 days ago. Just a quick one. We have more than 62 internal business units supported by Helix, and that means that you know, the support cases managed and also the request received. This is kind of quite a lot of data, and if we can do a lot of things about automation here, we can reduce the manual interventions, right? So this is the current snapshot. It's quite big, and it's something that we've been presenting each year to understand how much we are dealing with when it comes to the work that we're doing for the business, but also how much we are actually are managing as part of the platform. I want to touch a little bit about delivery model, because this is not a one-man show, not even a two-man show or a three-man show. It's a kind of a 100-man show. So we have quite a lot of organizations that we support with the capabilities that we have from BMC, which means that we need to cater for difference of you know, needs, and also a different type of business setup. You know, HR is very different to IT. IT is very different to supply, and so on and so on. So everybody has their own perspective of support, and sometimes you need to align on something to be able to actually get synergy. So we have done in our platform, we have the foundation, and we are seeing more and more of our business units out there. They're also consolidating the way that they're working, because of the tool gives them the possibility of doing that. Before they could have their own tool, they could sit in SharePoint, emails, etc. We had everything of between hell and heaven of capabilities, but now they're seeing the power of actually unifying their way of working in the processes. But that also requires that we can deliver on the requirements that they have. So the demands that we're talking about, that could be small changes, bigger projects, features, epics, etc. We are very much involved in many of the transformation that is ongoing when it comes to support. So I'm really proud that we are one of the few organizations in enterprise IT that has a total in-sourced model of delivery. And that is, I think, one of the key success to our engagement and growth of this platform. And of course, this is the amount of the demands that we've been delivering over the last couple of years. And 2017, when we started off, we were not that big, but then it has grown kind of dramatically. And record was last year. I will go to the next one. Something that is really important to us as well. I don't know if you know SAFe methodology, but we are calling something planning increment, which is PI planning. We call it. It's usually once a quarter. This time we had a hybrid setup, or more hybrid than on-site. So we had worked over teams, channels, and groups. So we are collaborating. Some people were in the office, some people were in Sweden, India, UK, etc., etc. So this is kind of the way that we're planning for the next quarter, right? So we have planned 63 committed objectives, and those objectives are not small changes. They are kind of bigger features and implementations that we're doing, because they takes a collaboration with different teams. So if we have ITSM team needs to collaborate with the DWB team, with the automation team, and so on. So it's all about collaboration and making sure that we are prioritizing the right things for our business stakeholders. So we have actually BMC's a big part of this PI as well, from product management. We have our security team from Ericsson as well involved, and of course some of the key business stakeholders in this. But the preferred way is to actually do this on site. So we had this session, I think it was in September, and we rent a place. This is not happening every time, of course. This is once a year activity where we all send most of the people into one location. We invite some key stakeholders here as well, managers, etc. BMC is part of this, and where we are collaborating, discussing, managing risks, dependencies, and everything that we do, because all these products in some way or form have a dependency on each other, right? So this is also a great collaboration and team spirit activity, right? It's not a team building activity, but it feels like it, because it's a great event basically. And of course, you see on the right hand side of the corner we have the BMC team here, and even Ting joined us last time, and we had Colin Murphy the last year, and some other really senior people from BMC, and Brad and so on, right? But this is the preferred way of doing it, but we cannot afford it, so we need to combine it with the hybrid setups. You know? And of course, well, like I just mentioned, it's enhancing the collaboration, focus, productivity, and motivation as well, right? So here you see our confidence vote, because people, you know, in SAFe methodology, after each PI, we have a confidence vote of will we achieve the committed objectives, and that's where you have 1 to 5 aspect, and then of course if somebody is not putting up more than 3 fingers, that means that we need to redo some of the things there. So this is a really important activity for us, and that is kind of how we close our planning session. Of course, many of you have seen these pictures before in ITIL. I mean, this is kind of a very standard one, and why I'm bringing this up, because even though that we are doing a lot of things for our business stakeholders, we still have quite a lot of challenges. And you know, when we're going into agile methodologies, everybody wants to have stuff faster. How is our process adhering to this? As we are under SOX audit regulations, we need to, you know, follow change processes. We have our financial team working on our setup. We need to have security measures. So there's a lot of things that you would like to do faster, but in some areas you cannot do it because of you have to meet these standards that is out there, right? And that is how you're gonna mix the business need of doing something really quick versus what controls do we have, and how does our processes adhere to that and support both ends of this. When it comes to people, that is a very important thing, is how do they work with the capabilities that we provide. from an end user point of view, how do they order things? From an operational point of view, we have 8,500 registered agents. Not all of them are working there 24/7, but how do we make sure that the capabilities that we bring in and the process updates that we're bringing in, that they actually understand how to utilize them? And that is kind of a challenge. And of course, how do we make sure that the tools that we provide actually fits the business need and the processes, and also making sure that the people can actually utilize this. So, you know, usually depending on, and especially now when the ChatGPT capability is coming up, these circles in reality is probably a little bit spread out. They are not in this type of harmony. I think this is the utopia that you would like to be in, to be able to make sure that we have very good processes. We have very good people that they will never leave and they stay there for 10 years to work with this. We have the same capabilities that we don't need to update, upgrade, or so on. But the reality is that a lot of things changing around us, new technology, attrition of people, new ideas, innovation, etc., etc. So we need to somehow combine all of this into one form. And I would say, over working with this for so many years, and most of you know about how important it is to have foundation data, good standards, and standardization of data, and so on. So I think the data is becoming really the glue that actually is the one thing that have some changes into it, but that is the kind of the core thing that is always going to be there, that is important to govern and actually manage properly. We have this challenge in Ericsson that we have a lot of data, sometimes very unstructured, sometimes very good. But if you have discrepancy, and a lot of discrepancy in the data within this different circles, you will not get the visual results. And I will come to that a little bit. But for us, I'm pushing now internally that we need to have a data governance, really pushing that data is the kind of equivalent to water in one way in working in IT. Because without this, and without good quality of data, the good quality of water, or at least quality of water, living in London in the past, it was not very nice water there. But anyway, you need to have at least good water or good data to make sure that you can get the process automation there. You can have governance. You can actually have making sure that the adoption is right. You know? So for me, the next year, this is something that we are pushing from the whole team, is to make sure that how do we fix our gaps in data. Yeah? I will come to the two big flagship projects that we've been doing this year. And the first one out is the global business support transformation and Helix GPT enablement, right? So global business support is similar to what a shared service operations is. Many years ago, we had shared services, but then it was split up in many different units, different processes and so on. But now they are back into one unit. We have HR Direct, sourcing, supply, travel and expense, finance, etc. So now we are actually going back together and aligning the processes, which is great, because now they have the same KPIs, the same QSAT levels that they need to follow up on, the same needs, basically. So significant improvement in terms of giving them what they need on a more scalable level, and also ensuring that the end users will not get confused, because I've talked to finance, they send me over to HR, but how do I collaborate in between? And that was a bit challenging over the last couple of years, because all these units have been focusing on their own targets, and now we have a common target on how to deal with customer cases. Of course, the solutions that was involved in this transformation, DWP, business workflow, chatbot, Helix GPT, come around, and automation. So it's like, I'm talking about this PI planning. We have the different teams. This is where we are actually collaborating to making sure that we're aligning on the outcome that we would like to have to the business between the different competence areas. It's really key. We moved around. One big step of this is that we had a couple of units still left in ITSM from a legacy point of view. So we had to move them out from ITSM to business workflow. And I think now in the total business workflow in the GBS, we have more than 1,000 agents, 1,200 agents just for GBS, which is consisting of 5 or 6 different organizations now. We created 5,000 knowledge articles because that is really key to something I will come to in a bit. More dashboards in Grafana, very nice dashboards, very modern, not having the same issues. And we also transformed from IBM Watson chatbot to Helix GPT, which I believe is a big game changer, and also caused a lot of changes in the way that we think about self-help, but also how do you interact with a Q&A type of an approach versus a written and conversational approach. And that is a journey that is currently ongoing for many of us, but also internally in Ericsson. Our next steps here is to actually launch this fully for my support and services. And that is DWP, that you can have the switch on. So we have done the trial. It looks really good. But we have some challenges there that we are sorting out with BMC. And of course, the agent assist. I think this is a key enabler to...
hopefully, yes.
But I mean, if we have attrition rates that is quite high in some support organizations, that is kind of a really good thing to have, but it needs to really focus on a couple of things here. And so if we go to the last one, the key to success, because this was not a very easy transformation. It was a lot of people involved, a lot of workshops, a lot of use cases that we were looking into. A lot of them were implemented, tested, and so on. So to make sure that we have a good transformation, you really need to have the business stakeholder heavily involved to drive the business change, right? The communication, what the reasons, the business cases, why are we doing this? The whole purpose part. Another aspect is, of course, the technology should work, but that is given, right, for everybody. It should just press on. Everything should, work. One thing that we were really pushing for, because we have been working with chatbots in the past, we know that to have something good, the data needs to be good. So the 5,000 articles that was created has been verified, identified, and improved, and it's a continuous process to do that. But this is to have Helix GPT or any chatbot working, you always need to work on the data quality. Without that, I believe this can end up in a big failure very fast. So you need to put in the right measurements and processes into this, right? Just a little bit about our journey with My Support and Services portal, which is the DWP. So many years ago, we were looking like this. Up till November, we were looking like this. And now we're going into this view, which is our new portal that we launched together with the new chatbot. And I have a short demo here. I will play. Hopefully it will work. And let me know if there's no sound to this or not. But I tried it out. It should work. But in case of, let me know.
Welcome to the new My Support and Services.
Yes, we can.
Leveraging the latest transformative industry trends, the newly revamped portal presents a streamlined design centered on enhancing end-user experience with a simplified and smooth navigation for all Ericsson colleagues. The new interface is focused on end-to-end efficiency, offering our customers intuitive options like a quick way to interact seamlessly with IT live chat or with global business services support through Helix GPT-powered chat assistants. The global business services support centralizes human resources, travel and expenses, purchase to pay, sourcing, finance, GISM, help desks into a single platform to efficiently address all support queries. The newly enhanced GenAI-driven GBS chatbot provides you with fast, more accurate and domain-specific responses. The bot analyzes the question, reviews relevant articles, and provides a summarized contextual answer in a humanly manner. Global Business Services standardizes support process, single issue, single ticket, single resolution, eliminates ticket duplication, reduces their volumes, as well as hands-off across our internal organizations. Navigate to Raise a Support Ticket page to browse through the categories and easily request support. Furthermore, customers can effortlessly order assets, license, and other services in an efficient and user-friendly manner. With the Global Business Service Integrated Help Desk Global launch, enhanced GBS chatbot, and the new My Support and Services design, we provide our colleagues with a unified, streamlined support experience, aligning with enterprise IT strategy to co-create business transformation, empower Ericsson with fit-for-purpose IT, drive efficiency and productivity growth.
So we're extremely proud for what we have achieved here, and of course that doesn't stop us in what we're doing. Now I need to find the right slide. Is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one.
So Martin, just whilst you're finding the slide, we've got a few questions which I'm just going to throw your way.
Yeah.
First one is just around data quality. So you made a comment. I think it's really important to get the data quality right, have process in place. What's the sort of proportional effort of that? And can you just maybe talk practically in how you ensure data quality?
that will cost you guys. No, I think this is a evolution, and I think you need to set the boundaries of how you would like to set up your solution. We have been doing this for the last 12 or 13 years, right? So we've been onboarding new customers. We have added foundation data. We have added ops categorizations to left, right, and center. We have done cleanups over a period of time. But we see now that the platform is so interlinked that if you don't harmonize the data that has an impact on each other, let's say from an ITSM point of view to business workflow, from the DWP to BHOME and so on, we will have impact in our process automation, impact assessment, etc. How to solve this is that we're actually implementing our new standard for foundation data, because that's the core of things. So we have done a 6 months verification. We're going to clean up. We're going to shut down hundreds of ops categorization that is not necessary. We have reduced the groups. You need to understand. What is the purpose of all of this? That's the question. Why do we have something called failure, outage, and so on? Do you need to have 10 different aspects that is potentially meaning the same thing, right? We have some really clever people that is working on this. I'm the more executing part, because I see the impact on the tool set without good data, right? So we are working collaborated with the business stakeholders, with the process owners, and the tooling team on what is the best setup for Ericsson, at least, because we are very big. We have 62 different organizations in the platform currently, right? So it's not one answer to that question. It's multiple things that needs to work together. You need to have a data strategy around this.
For sure. Just one or two others as well before we go on. So one is just around the UI and the UX. How did we can see the journey here from sort of left to right, but have you used any UX experts? Is this from feedback from your users? How have you arrived at that?
A couple of years ago, we had a design organization review, and there was some limitation, of course, in DWP many years ago. So that was the middle part here that we went with. But now this was the to be state, that the design UX team that was helping us to do this is actually an Accenture company that came in and did a verification on this, and now we are very close to what we were set out to be a couple of years ago with the new capabilities that BMC has launched, and it's also the avatars is kind of where Ericsson is going with the internal brand. So we really want to reflect what is internally in Ericsson with this. So it's you don't feel like you're working in that you click in Amazon or something like that. It needs to be unified with the Ericsson's branding. So we had experts in, definitely.
Makes sense.
And we have reviewed, and we have experts as well before we launched it.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a few other points here been made that there's some work that we're doing ourselves within Helix and Helix GPT.
We can't hear you, Jamie, if you're talking.
I can hear Jamie.
Okay.
Jamie as well.
Hopefully everyone else can hear me.
Okay, then it's just me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we're working on other capabilities within Helix GPT with the CMDB auditor, for example, knowledge curator, in order to really focus and improve on the knowledge. So just to address some of the comments there, just maybe one more. Simon is interested in just the sort of effort that's required and what's the balance. Do you federate any of this effort out to the business, or is it all an IT driven?
No. Do you mean from a design or from a transformation perspective?
More just a broader transformation is what I think.
No, it needs to be driven by the business. IT is a supporting organization, so we don't drive transformations for the business. It needs to be driven by them, because we have done this in the past, and it tends to fail, because if you don't get the business with you and to understand, in some cases you need to, when you have end-of-life products and so on, then it's an IT transformation. Then you have to pitch as IT to the business. But in this case with GBS, that was our top manager, Mutti, asking to how can we simplify things, how can we make stuff better, how can we do X and Y and Z, and we were supporting that. Even BMC, they were meeting with Ali and everything as well in Houston in the summer. So it's like aligning it on the very top level, the commitments, and also that the business is driving their transformation. The other way that we have done it in the past is also that has been quite successful, is that we present what the capabilities can we bring to them, to the business stakeholders, that can improve their daily life as an agent or as the end users, especially when it comes to self-help and so on. So we are also doing marketing in there, but we are not like say you should do this because you will save a lot of money. That needs to come from the business.
Makes perfect sense. There was a question earlier which I think kind of cues you up potentially to what you're going to talk around with AIOps, Martin, around do you use discovery to populate CMDB?
Yes,
and how are you using that as a foundation? So
I'll come to that.
Talk about it.
Let's go into AIOps, because this is a very area close to my heart. I mean, of course, we see a lot of these things on the LinkedIn's and Gartner's and Forrester's, etc. We started off this journey last August, really. It's not that we didn't do observability or monitoring, but what we really wanted to do is to actually, see what AIOps is all about, but also the aspect of AIOps, reducing the manual work, end user experience, reducing noise for tickets, all of this stuff that everybody's talking about. We're starting to understand that as we have so much data, what data is the most important for us to actually be able to address real issues out there. And so that was kind of the driving factor, because in our NOCs, with our partners or internal NOCs, attrition is quite high. It's a tedious work now looking at all of these screens when you see alarms and so on. It's like, attrition rates it's killing also. You're losing the competence out there, right? So how do we make sure that we are really streamlining the operational setup with the good amount of data that is qualified and that actually is helping to actually sustain a good level of operational stability, right? I will not go into this because you're going to see the video in a bit, but key for success, again here, good engagement with, it should not force business stakeholders, but with business stakeholders to drive change in way of working. Because I see AIOps is not a solution that you just implement. It's a way of working, it's a concept, and it also is driving a different type of behavior from a very reactive and very manual to kind of fully automated. And that is also where the prerequisites needs to be met. We went into this workshop believing that we had a lot of things in place already, but it was not there. So we have to build a foundation there. So when you start this journey, what is the current state, Do you have all the things? If you don't have, you need to fix that first, because we start fixing the gaps after we started running this project. Like I mentioned, AIOps is not a solution to me. AIOps is a many capabilities, like ways of working, the data and the tools. And that is not a single tool. That is discovery, that is automation tools, that is ITSM, and so on. So it's a kind of much broader scope than saying observability and AIOps, because that usually is part of the same line, but it's much more than that. That's at least to my perspective, and based on the level of engagements that we've had over the last year and a half implementing this in Ericsson. It's not. It's a platform concept. It's not a single tool in that. I will not go into too much of this because we're running a little bit low on time, but the whole idea is to reduce the amount of noise, focus on the right tickets, increase productivity, have a lot of things automated, and we are in a very good stage at the moment. BMC is doing a lot of development for us actually on the discovery end, where we're going to have layer 3 and layer 4 connectivity enhanced, hopefully beginning of next year. Shafi is working with that, and that will give us the full scope of what we need to be able to drive the efficiency that we so much need in Ericsson. And of course, you see IT support NOC, that is the Ericsson part, and HCL objectives, that's the partner that we are having in some of the outsourcing that we have towards them. But let me go to the demo, because I think the demo is more interesting than me talking. It's a little bit longer, but I think it's quite important.
Let's get into more details.
Can you hear?
IT services rely on the good functionality of multiple business services, which in turn consist in various devices, applications, and the relationships between them. Having a look on just one business service structure, it becomes quite obvious that ensuring a good observability of its health by monitoring each individual device is challenging. And of course, identifying the right restoration actions will be even more challenging. The main purpose of BHOM AIOps is to reduce the manual effort by calculating the service health and identifying the root cause of outstanding issues. This is done in real time by aggregating the monitoring events based on the relationships between the nodes for which they are created. This event correlation produces artificial intelligence or machine learning situations. They will indicate which part of the service requires immediate attention. A machine learning situation allows a compact visualization of an issue, but very powerful due to the suggestive bits of information and easy-to-read diagrams. GPT summary, which gives an AI-generated description of the entire impact. Similar situation section, which indicates how often the same set of issues occurred. Root cause analysis, which based on machine learning algorithms is capable to predict the most likely cause of the problem. A diagram that shows the related nodes that may potentially be affected. So, by reading just few lines, you can understand what happened, where it happened, why it happened, and how often. As might be expected, complex solutions require complex preparation, so we continued working very closely with Discovery team at building a good foundation for the machine learning to gain the knowledge that is mandatory for a more precise output of BHOM AIOps. Let's have a look in more depth on the main activities we focused on this PI to overcome the challenges. Improve topology data for Meraki and ISP devices to enhance noise reduction. We addressed the first business challenge by bringing and refining data related with Meraki and ISP devices using an out-of-the-box connector between Track and Helix platform, as these kind of devices are not part of Ericsson network, being devices from an internet provider, but they have direct impact on the service. The additional data feeds the machine learning and provides more accurate output of BHOM AIOps. Having in mind the variety of components that build the IT services, in Ericsson there are different observability tools specialized in monitoring different kinds of devices and applications. Currently, data from around 15 more other such tools is consumed by bHome AIOps. A part of monitoring, data is also brought in from service management tool, incidents, changes, problems, and asset management. Even though it's more efficient to have everything stored in one place, finding the main problem in the system becomes very hard to achieve. Here, noise reduction capabilities driven by the machine learning algorithms come in very handy by filtering and correlating multiple events into single machine learned situations, leading the attention to the exact problem from the system. Based on the current data collected from bHome AIOps output, we found that we are achieving 70% accuracy of the root cause analysis. However, we are still working on enhancements to improve the results. To elevate the benefits previously discussed, multi-service situations feature is enabled. We have seen previously that the service composition is very complex, but even so, they are not standalone entities. Business services have relationships between them as well. They share or are dependent on databases, various network devices, and so on. Previously, the machine learning algorithms were limited to understand the impact only inside the boundaries of a service, and the root cause analysis could not showcase the exact source, even if the failing nodes were directly related but part of different services. Multi-service situations feature allows a full overview of service health and helps understand the inbound and outbound impact relationships. Let's consider a simple example. In a quite short time window, 33 events occurred. Instead of identifying single events among hundreds, the machine learning algorithms bundle the alarms created for these 5 components. They are directly affecting 2 services. The underlying issues that are causing the outage are easily identified by just clicking on the causal nodes, and the events will be displayed, reducing the manual effort and permitting to act immediately on the outstanding problems. Where previously we would have 2 separate situations for each individual service, now more information is gathered in a single place, and it offers a more clear understanding of the infrastructure health. The reason behind each of these complex problems is described in a comprehensive manner in just few lines in the GPT summary. This saves a substantial amount of time by showcasing everything at the first glance, understanding the impact in just few seconds by reading it. To conclude, based on all these encapsulations of the traditional monitoring, we are defining the tickets and sending them to the right teams.
Yeah, so this is a journey, and I would like to just, based on this, I would like to present to you one thing here. So basically, if you see my, I hope you see my screen. So how do we follow up on this? We have a couple of things outstanding with BMC and implementation. We're doing the DSM sync right now because we have an on-prem discovery at the moment that we're moving to SaaS. But if we look at this, this is the IT support NOC. What we are aiming to reach 80%, right, of noise reduction. Currently, we have 56% over the last 2 days, but that means that we have missing topology. In some of cases, like I mentioned, the layer 3 and layer 4 connectivity is going to come in the beginning of next year, which will increase this. And of course, with the DSM sync, where we'll have more better data, but still we're achieving with this current scenario that we have more than 50% of noise reduction. And some of this is including some manual policies as well, like blackout window change, etc., is in there. But if we would take away all the tickets that is not qualified, like say there's no CI from discovery in the service model, then we have a much higher reduction rate of events. So if you compare how it will look like for qualified events, because a lot of vendors out there in the market are talking about that it can go 90%, 80%, but all of that depends on actually the topology data. It's not about the observability data, but topology data connected to observability data and so on. So on the right-hand side, we have quite a good level of reduction of events. If we take out the events that doesn't have a topology inside of it, right? So that is kind of how we're measuring our capabilities, and when we're going to go live in the beginning of next year, we believe that we're going to have more than 80% in the true setup. Yeah. That's the goal and that we want to achieve. This is not a one-man show. This is a full team, and of course they're working on different products. So I'm really proud that we have been able to build such a uniqueness within Ericsson that has become kind of a core competence, and that is driving all of this for us, for our business stakeholders. So I'm really, really proud, and I'm really happy to work with all of these guys, and that they're dedicated to Ericsson. And that's it.
Martin, absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much for that, and thank you on behalf of all of us for sharing your knowledge and your experience. And you should be very proud of what you and your team have managed to achieve. So thanks very much, Martin. There's a few questions still unanswered in the chat, so if you're okay, just to keep an eye on that. We're going to have to sort of plug the green IT element that we're going to talk about. So we have an upcoming webinar coming in January, and Mickey, if you wouldn't mind just spending 1 minute just talking about what's happening on that webinar within January. We'll also share some information in the chat before we move on to the quiz. So Mickey, if you're still out there.
Me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, mate.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we will have in January a webinar full dedicated to the sustainability practices, and so we will talk about real use cases that we implemented in a customer in Europe, and we supported this customer to not only manage the capacity, but using BMC Helix also to drive sustainability initiatives in their organization. So I hope that is interesting for you, and I wait all of you in January. Okay. Thanks,
Mickey. Thank you. I'm going to quickly launch just 2 polls here before we get stuck into the quiz. So hopefully that's appearing onto your screen.
Just Jamie, on this one, we did a presentation 2 years ago on sustainability in Ericsson as well, and the results is quite amazing what you can actually get out from the data that is currently, if you have discovery and capacity management and so on. So this has been also something that we've been driving internally in Ericsson.
Awesome. Thanks, Martin. Okay, I'm going to do one more poll as well. Can you see my screen all right, guys? Just making sure that you can see the nice dashboard. So that's the second. Can you see my screen, Martin?
Yeah, I can see. Now I can see just the nice color.
The nice dashboard. Okay, good. So just, and then the other event that I just also want to plug here, and again, I'll put the link in. We've recently made an acquisition of a company called Netrio. So this is really strengthening our armory when it comes to network observability. So we're going to run a webinar that will tell you all about that. We'll also have a customer on there to tell their story, and that's going to be January 14th. So I will share the link in the chat in just a moment. But quiz time. So you can join this QR code, and actually what I'm going to do is just get up the main web page. So just bear with me a second. Oh, here we go. So that QR code should work. If I can ask you to put your name and your company when you join. Usual rules: if you're within BMC, you can't win. You can win kudos. If you're a BMC partner, you also can't win, but you can win kudos. So the prize will go out to a customer, and it'd be a bottle of champagne or something similar if you don't like champagne, cheese, or a little nice little treat for Christmas. Let's just give this a couple of moments before we get going. Okay, we're going to get starting in 5 seconds, guys. Hope everyone's ready, got their thinking caps on. 3 questions, fastest finger first, or fastest finger will get the most points. So here we go. Question number 1. What are Ericsson's objectives with AIOps? Increase frequency, release cycles, data-driven organization, improve end user experience. You could be forgiven for thinking is the right answer, but it is the second one, improve data experience. The ones on the right-hand side are all capabilities. So let's see who's taken the early lead. Surprised monkey, smiley face is in the lead. We're going to need to know who you are if you're going to win the prize, but let's move on to the second question. I think this one should be a bit easier. I saw Tom Goff make mention to this within the chat. What level of automation has been achieved so far through digital workplace? Self-service? The answer, of course, was it 73%, Martin? Between 70 and 80%. So that is the correct answer. Right. Let's try and get monkey face off the topic. Do we have a winner that we can celebrate? How many delivered demands were executed in 2022? This is quite a tough one, I think. I think this is going to separate the winner. I've given too much time for this one as well. So let's see. The right answer is 5992. So it was a bit of a sneaky one for me. That was how many were delivered in 2022. So let's have a look who the winner is. Mike C has burst into the lead. Mike, could you, I'm not sure which Mike that is, if you can just put your name in the chat. Confirm that you do not work for BMC. Mike, are you out there? Mike Chapman. Good stuff. Congratulations, Mike. I'll be in touch to arrange a prize. But once again, thanks very much, Martin. That was a fantastic session. If anyone out there would like to share their story, please reach out to me. We'd love to hear your story on an upcoming Helix Hamming Forum. But nothing else left to say other than have a great Christmas, and we'll see you again in the new year. Take care.